Okay guys, so today we're going to look at the area of circles. This is very different from circumference of circles. If you got to go back and look at that, check it out. Remember, circumference was the distance around. Area is the space inside. If we were trying to find the inside of any shape, we would call that the area. So that's the first thing. Now, how do we find the area? We're going to use a thing called the radius. If you remember what this is, it's the distance from the middle of the circle all the way to the outside of it. It's this distance, given in any units, inches, feet, meters, whatever. And we're going to use that. Now let's say the radius was 3 for a second. For circumference, we would make that its diameter, which is 6, and then multiply it by pi. But not for area. If I want to try to fill up this circle with squares, which is how we often find area, I run into a problem. Notice that the sides of a circle are curved and stuff. That makes it really hard to put a perfect square in there. We have this extra overlap. Let's just say we did that for a second. We would find the area of that square by doing 3 times 3. That's how you find the area of a square, just side times side. That would be 9, right? Now, if I did that multiple times, put multiple squares inside of this little circle, that would give me 1, 2, 3. And if I want to chop this part off and put it over here, want to chop this part off and put it over here, this bit and throw it in here, this bit, throw it in here, it'd be about 3, but it doesn't look like it'll be quite exactly 3. It'd be just over 3. How many times over 3? Exactly pi times, 3.14 times. That's how many squares fit inside a circle. So to find the area of the circle, we'd take pi, that 3.14 we learned about, gotta have that memorized, then multiply it by the area of the square that's formed from the radius, which is just side times side. In this case, it's r, radius. So this area is r times r, which is r squared. I'm going to take that r squared and multiply it by pi, and that should give me the area. So let's use that formula. Area equals pi times r squared, which remember, r squared is r times r. It is not, I repeat, not 2 times r. This is a common mistake people make. No. Radius squared, or r squared, is r times r. Keep that in mind. So if I want to find this area, I take my radius, 4, and I'd plug it into my little formula. Area equals pi times r squared. I plug in 4 right here. First thing I evaluate is the exponent. 4 to the second power, that means 4 times 4, which is 16. Now, when you get to high school, especially in geometry and calculus and such, this will actually be a fine answer. You could just say 16 pi, and that would be acceptable. For now, we'd like you to go ahead and solve it by doing 3.14 times 16. 4 times 6 is 24. 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. 6 times 3 is 18. Placeholder 0. Get rid of anything I've already used. 1 times 4. 1 times 1. 1 times 3. Quick add. And I should get 50. I have 2 decimal places, 0.24. The area of this circle should be 50.24 inches squared. That's a huge difference between circumference and area. Area, like everything else we've done, squares, rectangles, is in square units. In this case, square inches, because it's how much space is inside a 2-dimensional shape, hence the 2. Circumference is just the distance around. That's only 1 dimension. What if it was a more complicated number, like 3.2? Same formula. Still use area equals pi times r squared. I just plug in 3.2 squared for there. Now you can use a calculator for all that, but you do 3.2 times 3.2. You get 10.24 times pi. And you would just multiply that away. I'm not going to take your time by doing that here. In a calculator, you could just plug in 3.14, which again is pi, times that 10.24. And again, you would be in feet squared for your answer. Okie dokie. So that should cover it for area. People always get it confused with circumference, so try to keep those straight. If you gotta go back and look at my circumference video, go ahead and do that. Thanks.